Shalom, Kol Halal, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahushai, Bahasham, Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to my fellow laborers, the 144,000 that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, among the heathen that look like the heathen, the Israelite foreigners. All right, and to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning. Once again, special shout out to my fellow laborers that do this work, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone, just coming at you with a quick lesson. There's a couple TikTok videos that got my attention enough to where I saved them. And with all the things that are happening in the world, real events and then distraction events. And as it was once said by, I believe that was the former mayor, Rahm Emanuel of Chicago. I don't know if he originally said it, but I do remember him saying it, how you should never let a good crisis go to waste. And so while the world was distracted with all the violence that was going on in the by the Israelis against the Palestinians, but yet the media was puts a twist on it as if, the Palestinians are the aggressors. And I don't know how you expect people to act when you violently take away their homes, and mistreat them on a daily basis for decade after decade after decade. I don't know what you expect people to do when they finally lash out or when they respond to your violence, but yet it only gets reported as one way. But that's just me, from an insider, from an outsider looking in. But let me cue up these videos.
That's fucked up.
I don't know why this thing just does what the hell it wants to when you turn it on. You try to turn it on, but yeah, those are my 3 videos. But first, let me grab a scripture that I read almost every week, because the distraction tactics are not working. The people aren't falling for this thing that happened over in the land of Israel like they have in the past, or at least this time they're speaking up. The world community is not having it. They are not with this at all, and finally, the Israelis are being called on their bull. Even by many of their own citizens put up videos, here we go, Isaiah 29 and 16. So the 15, the tactics that they've been using, this whole the victim villain move, it's not working anymore. All right, playing the role of the villain of the victim when you're really the villain. But this is Isaiah 29 and 15, and it reads, "Woe to them that seek deep to hide their counsel from Yahweh, and their works are in the dark. And they say, who seeth us? And who knoweth us?" And, in all these videos that surfaced with people, with clearly that were being directed, bodies, people on the ground that are acting, with blood splatters and tattered clothes and twisted mangled bodies. And you can see the camera crews adjusting the bodies and talking to the actors, and and someone uploaded these clips of these films that are being made, which clearly get put into on the internet and on the news as actual attacks. Complete total wag the dog if you've never seen the movie events that are being done by a specific nation of people, and and playing the victim. All right, it's out there. All right, and the sentiment of the people is they're calling bullshit. Here we go. Let us play this first video. I think this is it. Yeah, this is the sentiment. I'm surprised this video is still up, that they haven't cried to take it down. But yeah, this is it, I do believe.
Who's the biggest enemy in the world today?
Israel.
Israel and USA. Oh,
I don't know. Pause it. I don't know if you could hear. That's English. That's not a foreign country. This is freaking Boston.
It's outside the public
Boston,
library
Massachusetts.
of Boston.
These are pro-Palestine
God,
people saying
man.
the biggest enemy in the world today is Israel and the USA. Ladies and gentlemen, 79% of the world
There
is
you go.
stupid.
That's better.
It doesn't matter what the truth is. It only matters what information gets out.
And a lot of those are Caucasian Americans that are saying this. So, you know, a house divided cannot stand. Let's grab that. You know, Satan against Satan, it can't stand. That's Mark 3, I think 24. Yeah, I started 23. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house be divided against itself, that house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against Satan and be divided, he cannot stand but have an end. And that's what you're seeing. And then, you know, they're overloading the system with all the migrants. And then there was something interesting that happened on the 13th while these violent attacks were happening overseas, and everyone was focused on this whole Israeli-Palestinian conundrum, you know, that quagmire. Well, everyone was focused on that, and all this failed policy to take the firearms from the people and making firearms illegal here in America. Well, you had this explosion in at the Harnedy manufacturing company, which makes the most popular, which means prices are going to go up and there's going to be major shortages. But Harnedy makes the 5.56, which civilians and the military use. They also make the 2.23. All right. You know, the NATO round type weapon, ammunition. So, you know, matter of fact, let me get a video on it. So if you can, so now you got a situation where, you know, since all this gun legislation is constantly being met with opposition because it's anti-constitutional, all right, and they're always doing things to try to get around and get past the Constitution. What they're doing now is they're just simply going after the ammunition. All right, so here we go.
That's why they want to take out the ammo, since they can't get to the guns. Yeah. You heard about Hornady? The explosion at the ammunition manufacturing facility this past Friday the 13th. There was an explosion. Unfortunately, it claimed a life, but they found out that it was an accident. They were incorrectly mixing some chemical compounds, and it caused the explosion. Now, I can't see anywhere yet on how it's going to impact production numbers, but
it will.
One-off incident. Yeah, there's this one too. Lake City Ammunition Plant, Independence, Missouri. Yeah, they decided to cancel all civilian contracts. So they stated that the policy to deny the sale of excess ammunition would not only freeze over 30% of the 5.56 and 2.23 caliber ammunition for law-abiding gun owners, but it would also risk the ammunition industry's ability to surge production capacity for national defense. I'll tell you, if this starts looking like the food processing plant explosions a year or two ago, I'm just going to start having some questions.
Yeah, so expect more, like he said, as it starts looking like the food plant thing, because they're taking away your ability to eat and keep yourself, you know, healthy, and now they're trying to take away your ability to fight back. And typically, you know, when nations start doing that, that nation typically moves on its people shortly thereafter. And not to mention that you have, what you already have, a foreign army that's already behind line. You know, they're behind. They're already insurged among us. You know what you call them, insurgents. You know, all sorts of people came in with these migrants, and they've put, you know, America's national security completely and totally at risk. You got all these military-age men by the tens of thousands that are already here in America, you know, and videos popping up with them showing military IDs and that whole sort of thing. And and then all this NATO equipment that's been sitting in America for years, and who knows what's in these, you know, like the one lady did her Airbnb they had, you know, over in the UK, and she, you know, and they ship weapons in as well. She opened up some containers and they were full of weapons. So don't think that that's not happening here as well, which is all going to lead up to the great insurrection. So it's going to be a complete and perfect storm. A lack of food, a lack of foreign troops, a lack of law, shortage on ammo and firearms. It really looks like, you know, this whole thing is just being set up to create and bring this chaos. All right. At the same time, you got another thing going on, the demonization of the Israelites, trying to, you know, all of a sudden these agents popping up, you know, with names like Hamas, and trying to put that intermix, specifically GMS, because that's the only real, those are the real prophets and the only real threat. IUIC, ISUPK, the leadership of Sakari, they've all taken a bag. They're all got these 501c3 agreements, changing the doctrine, all sorts of things. All right, and then they also, these guys are seen on videos with firearms. All of a sudden, you got some dude looks like he's from Iran. You know, could be an Iskarite. Giving all praises, going honor to Yahweh Bashina was shy, and then immediately putting an AR-15 video up, you know, and with his sights. Then that's not stuff that the men of the Lord do. We don't do that. All right. You know, the just complete and total bull crap, man. Trying to set up so that they can demonize and accuse, you know, the men of the Lord. What's that scripture? The accuser of my brother, my brother. Let me see if I can find it real quick. That's in Revelation, I believe. I think it's Revelation 12. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 12 and 10, Revelation 12 and 10. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Hamashiach. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And this is what they do. I mean, they use their media. You know, they put up false statistics. You know, most of the crimes and violent crimes are being done by Edomite pale males, but yet they constantly keep, you know, a so-called black or brown face in the media when it comes to sort of things like that. This thing is done, that sort of thing is done on purpose. All right? The majority of the people on welfare are pale people, but yet when they show you the welfare queens, they always show you some overweight, you know, 5'6" baby daddy black woman with some weave in her hair. All right? That speaks in completely and totally broken English. You know? People that use words like finna. Instead of I'm finna, you know. Fo instead of for, you know. Mo instead of more. The people that talk like that, you know. They find the the most ghettoest people they could possibly find to interview. You know, I don't think that those sort of things are done by accident. Just by these sort of things are done on purpose. All right. This media is set up to make Jake look bad and to make Jake look like they're the problem in society, when clearly it's the policy of the people that are controlling the place. Remember, as we've all done many of videos in the past showing that the nigger, all right, in America is a creation by white people. It was a project, like the people in the projects. All right, because when you go back, you know, to the 40s, the 30s, and the 20s, you know, Jake families were together, working hard, struggling, but yet working hard. In a lot of cases, in the 20s and the turn of the century, were doing better than most white people. And, you know, and that angered them. And what did they do? They destroyed all those neighborhoods, all those settlements, all across America. All right. And then they created ghettos, you know, pushed the Jim Crow laws, took away this, took away that, made life difficult for them. And then ultimately they gave aid and welfare to the woman only if the man was out of the house. And look what that's got us to now. All right. You know, 5 decades later. from that time. Look at the so-called black community and marriages and families today. Right? That was created by so-called white people. Then they have the audacity and the nerve to criticize and talk about fatherless homes when it was their policy and their people that really pushed for that and created it. This is the type enemy, the accuser of your brother, that we're talking about. All right? And at the same time, they're destroying their own families and their own societies. Because the same poison that we're breathing in, they're breathing in. All right? Okay. It's just directed at us more so, but nevertheless, it's still affecting them as well. All right? Let's see if I can find this other video. That was that one. That was that one.
What's going on? Let's do photo number.
No, not that one. Oh, yeah, this one.
Chicago, ladies and gentlemen. Chicago is giving $9,000 to migrants to help cover their rent and help furnish their apartments. Chicago currently has about 11,000 migrants staying in shelters and about 4,000 staying in police stations and the O'Hare International Airport. The city has allocated $4 million to help migrants find temporary housing, and the state has contributed another $38 million. It says that the rental assistance will last up to about 6 months, and for people who have already started their legal process, secured legal work authorization, and will be able to sustain that apartment. What's frustrating about this is Chicago already has a well-documented affordable housing shortage issue, and this came out in May 10th, 2023, and it highlights residents who have been waiting years for Section 8 housing. Chicagoans are desperate to find affordable housing in the city, and some have been waiting years for housing to open up. Spoke to local and federal officials to find out what's being done to address the problem. One resident right here by the name of Randall said he applied for public housing and has been waiting 6 years. Another resident at the bottom, Deborah, says that she has been waiting on a housing voucher since 2014. The same resident goes on to say, after watching her mother wait 25 years for affordable housing voucher, tips the woman, Deborah, can't help but lose hope. Tracy, the CEO of the Chicago Housing Authority, said there are absolutely more resources needed for affordable housing. We feel the frustration. We're doing everything we can to create more housing opportunities for families that need help here in Chicago. Yet, isn't it rather interesting how quickly those funds become available now that migrants are here? People who have just come into our country illegally, while you have Chicagoans that are waiting for years for affordable housing. But not just that, they also need work authorization. Well, there's an unemployment problem in Chicago. And where are they putting a lot of the migrants, a lot of the shelters? They're putting them in predominantly black neighborhoods, and Chicago's black unemployment rate is extra high. White unemployment 3.4%, black unemployment 10.9%. The good news is there is a group of Chicago residents that are suing the city, and although they're suing mostly because of the housing issues with where they're putting these shelters and violating zoning ordinances, they also want a complete forensic audit of the city funding and where all of that money is going.
And they're never going to get it because you just saw where all the money's going. So that's a waste of time, all right? You just got to stop depending and thinking that you're going to get help from Egypt, especially you so-called blacks and Hispanics. This place is not for you, all right? And when they do something for you, they pit you one against each other, like they're doing with the migrants, all right? Because eventually they're going to cut these migrants off. As it gets colder, man, these migrants are going to get, that are still stuck outside. They're going to start, just like they're doing in Michigan and New York. They're already doing home invasions, all right? So, let me go to this real quick. Get a couple more scriptures. Getting ready to wrap this up. This is Isaiah 30 and 1. And it says, woe to the rebellious children, saith Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with the covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin unto sin. They keep going to the very enemy that's destroying them, all right, to get help. That walk to go down into Egypt and have not asked of my mouth to strengthen themselves. And in the strength of Pharaoh, they trust in the shadow of Egypt. They trust in the government of Chicago, the government of America, which does nothing but fail them over and over again and show them that they don't matter and that they're not important. Therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion. So they put you in a position where you know, where you're forced to or you believe that they're the only way out. In a lot of cases, that's true. All right. But none of you believe and call on the Lord, because the Lord, when you call on his real name, which is not the J words, you know, things begin to happen. I mean, the men of the Lord have been calling, you know, calling the name of Yahweh, Yahweh Shai, and the whole world changed as a result of us doing so. The prophecies, the Lord sped everything up. All right. Not any physical action, but just spiritually. Calling on the name of the Lord. It has power. All right. But what's about to happen in America is going to be complete and total chaos and insurrection. That's where we're heading. This is 2 Ezra 15. And we'll start at 14. And I'm going to read through 19 quickly. And it says, 2 Ezra 15 and 14, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword in their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. All right, because people are going to be trying, the have-nots are going to come after the haves, and the haves are going to try to defend what they have. All right, and who to say who's right or wrong? Because if you're starving to death and you're trying to feed your wife and children, you're going to go to get food. And then if someone who has some food wants to defend that food for themselves, you know, well, there it is. You know, it's just going to be, you know, people colliding that normally probably would have never crossed paths. All right. And then you got all these people that are running around the woods training in these centers. I watched a video of this with these Edomites running through doing military style training, running through buildings, clearing buildings and stuff. All right, getting ready for you. But the truth of the matter is, a lot of guys like that, the joke's on them. They're going to be fighting against other guys doing the same thing. Because just like you got all these preppers and these people preparing for defense, you got guys who are preparing to just take stuff from the preppers. So they're so worried about it's just the Lord is putting them in a trick bag. They're so worried, prepared in their mind for the urban element coming to them, and it's actually going to be their own people coming at them. So the joke's on them. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and destruction draweth nigh. For one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the courses of their actions shall stand in their power. All right, they're going to disregard all manner of law, and the law is being pushed unjustly anyway, which is what pushing people to these extremes. All right, it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able, for because of their pride the city shall be troubled, and the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid, and a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. So you best believe they're going to spoil your houses. They're going to ravage each other's wives and daughters. All right. And they're going to kill one another, to spill each other's blood. All right. And if the Lord is not with you, all right, you're going to be a victim of that. You're going to watch your daughter, your wife, your sister, your cousin, your friends become victims of that. All right. Some people are going to turn on their friends and families. It's going to be complete and utter chaos. So with that, I'm going to give all praises, all honor and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash, Wa Abba Kwam Yasharala Shalom.